Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Red Dead Redemption 2 video, we're going to be talking about how little Jack Marston predicted the ending of the game all the way back in Chapter 2. And I think this is some really cool foreshadowing by Rockstar in an event that wasn't meant to be that serious and honestly was kind of meant to break the tension from the rough and rugged world that is Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, before we start that, I kind of want to give you guys a fun fact. You guys know the Grand Theft Auto Online update After Hours, which featured nightclubs and the DJs? Well, one of the DJs was The Tale of Us. And what's funny is one of the tracks he made specifically for GTA 5 referred to Red Dead Redemption 2's ending before the game even released. So The Tale of Us's DJ mix is called Afterlight, and there's 18 songs on there. And there's also a lot of other references to like Red Dead Redemption 2 and even GTA in general. Like some of the songs are called 1911, which is the year Red Dead Redemption takes place. Another one is called Trevor's Dream. Well, one song is called Morgan's Fate, which is a clear reference to Arthur Morgan's ending. Now, the song itself is mainly just a minimal techno song. It doesn't have any audio or vocals that would actually give away what happened. But he made a few tracks just for the DLC with thematic names, and one of them was Morgan's Fate. So I don't know, I found that to be pretty cool. I didn't know like where to include that in a video, so I thought one talking about really the ending or foreshadowing the ending would be a good place to throw this in. But anyways, let's get back to little Jack Marston and him actually predicting the end of Red Dead Redemption 2. It all starts after him and Arthur go on a fishing trip, where Jack actually asks him to collect an item that he left in the Blackwater camp.
When are we going back to the other camp?
The one near Blackwater?
Yeah.
Well, we're not. This is our spot. For now, anyway. Why?
I forgot a storybook there. We left so quick.
All right. This looks as good a spot as any.
So after that line of dialogue right there, and after the mission completes, you will now start to get item requests from various characters. And this will happen in a bunch of different chapters. In fact, it even happens in the epilogue, where Uncle will ask John Marston for like a remedy for his lumbago or something like that. So you get random requests to find. And so that's the first thing you have to do, is you have to find these storybook locations for Jack. And there's a handful that you can actually find. One of them is located at the Downs Ranch, another is located at Osmond Grove. So they're scattered all throughout the map, pretty easy to find, and then you just have to bring it back to Jack.
You okay, Jack?
Is Mr. Strauss gone?
Yeah, he had to leave. Sorry. Anyway, I won't disturb you.
All right, I guess.
Here, I hadn't forgotten about that storybook you lost.
Thanks so much, Uncle Arthur. Do you want to have this? I found it near camp.
Sure. Thanks, Jack.
Now, after you've given him the storybook, which will only give you a chocolate bar, so that's not all that significant, he will then come up to you for another item request, this time looking for something a little bit more personal.
Uncle Arthur! Uncle Arthur!
What's up, kid?
Not much. Well, I had fun fishing.
Yeah, me too.
So I lost Mama's thimble. I was playing with it and just lost it.
Oh, okay.
She's going to kill me.
I don't think she'd care too much. It's only a thimble.
Oh no, she will kill me.
Well, maybe I can find you another one. You can give it to her.
Oh, that would be fine. Thanks, Arthur.
So little Jack is looking for a thimble, and he actually lost it. He wants to give it back to his mom, Abigail. And a lot of you guys might be wondering, where do you find a thimble? Well, once you get this line of dialogue, you'll pretty much find it on any NPC that you kill. So this is gang members, traditional enemies. You basically just need to do a little bit of looting, and you should find a thimble. And when you bring the thimble back to Jack Marston, if you wait a couple of days in game, he'll actually give you a gift that he puts on your little like area where you sleep and where you change your clothes and stuff like that. And what he actually gives you is a drawing, and it's officially called Jack's drawing. And it looks pretty simple on the surface, but I think there's bigger imagery here. As you guys can see there, it looks like there is 3 characters, mom, a dad, and a young child. There's a house in the background with a tree, a sun, and what looks to be some animals or farm animals like sheep or something like that. And I think this is Jack Marston completely predicting the end of Red Dead Redemption 2, where Jack, John, and Abigail end up building their own ranch, or at least have a ranch. The sun is shining, so it's kind of happily ever after, at least for now. And you guys can see the sheep there. So that indicates exactly what sort of farming John Marston does at Beecher's Hope. He doesn't grow anything. He's a sheep farmer, or goats, or whatever the case is. So that's pretty cool right there. And again, it's a relatively simple drawing. I know it's not a work of art from like Leonardo da Vinci or something like that, or Michelangelo. But remember, Jack Marston is like 4 or 5 years old when he ends up drawing this. So you can't take him too seriously here. And again, I think this was meant to be a pretty lighthearted moment in the story where you go back to your camp, you find this fun little drawing as sort of a reward and a thank you that Jack gives you. But it really does look like in Chapter 2, when he draws this, he completely predicted the ending. That John, his mom Abigail, and Jack would sort of grow up to, at least for the time, have a happy life. Now, we know that that's sort of short-lived at the end of the epilogue, and of course at the start of the first Red Dead Redemption game, and by the end of that story, we clearly know what happens where, Jack Marston has to be an adult. He has to get revenge on pretty much every single death in the Red Dead Redemption series. So, at least for the time, it was a correct prediction of what actually happened, but it doesn't stay that way for long. Now, this is probably just me looking into it too much, but it is funny that painting, or drawing, I should say, doesn't feature Arthur or anyone else from the gang. And considering how good of a relationship that Jack had with Arthur, and considering how good of a relationship that Jack Marston has with Arthur Morgan, it's kind of weird that he wasn't included in the drawing. I mean, if we just go back to some recent events that have occurred, remember John Marston actually left the gang after Jack was born for a while. So Arthur kind of assumed the role of like a father figure for him, which is exactly why he's taking him fishing right here, because John wouldn't do it. So it's weird that a child, someone as young as Jack Marston, wouldn't include who they kind of thought is their father figure. And maybe the reason for this is because, again, another foreshadowing moment where Arthur would never make it to the epilogue. And it's also funny how none of the other gang members are featured there. I mean, you don't see the likes of Dutch, you don't see the likes of Bill Williamson, a lot of other senior members, even Hosea, who's been with Jack for, years at this point, ever since he was born. So again, this is probably just me looking into it probably way too much, but the fact that it's just the 3 of them, which is exactly how it is at the end of the game, minus characters like Rufus and the help from Charles Smith and Sadie Adler, who Jack really wouldn't have known because the gang literally just picked her up, I think that's a pretty cool detail right there. And another thing that's important, I think, is the significance of where Jack placed it. Now, this might just be where Rockstar places all things you can interact with, but remember the letters he gets from Mary Linton? Those appear at the same spot. That was obviously very important to Arthur. That's where Jack put the letter. Again, I might be looking into it just a little bit too much, but I found this so interesting, and it was just an incredibly cool detail placed in there by Rockstar. So I found this to be really cool and a nice little element of foreshadowing that Rockstar used here, and it'll be interesting to hear from you guys in the comments down below if you know of any other moments like this in game that sort of successfully predict the ending of RDR2 or events that happen in the future that you might run into in an earlier chapter. You can let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more in the comments down below, or better yet, reach out to me on my Facebook page. That's a good reminder as well. I'll have a link to that in the description. That's where you can send me messages, photos, videos of mysteries, secrets, and more that you would like me to explore in Red Dead Redemption 2. So be sure to check that out. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. or you want to stay up to date on all the latest GTA and Red Dead Redemption videos that I'm doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.